to be talking about the C word, and today our guest, I'm going to let him introduce himself to you. Who are we speaking to today?
It's Dr. Ludi. Dr. Ludi from St. Ockwall University.
What's going on?
It's an inevitable development. In my opinion, it's a teacher. It's a teacher and it's a sovereign. And I'll explain. The word corona means crown. And a king's job is to restore order to a chaotic environment. So if we look at the virus as a king, a sovereign, and if you look at what a sovereign tries to achieve, complete control, shutdown of all stores, shutdown of all businesses, keep people in their home. There's been many great men who have come before and tried to achieve that, revolutionaries. Gandhi, Jesus, Malcolm X, Martin Luther, all failed to even affect the system in any iota. A microbe has come along and it's the whole country, the whole world is shut down in a couple of weeks. So that's why I call it a sovereign and a teacher. And what is the teaching part now? What is it teaching us? It's removed all the excess. Hopefully we now can experience what other people have felt around the world since they've been, for hundreds of years. They've never had anything. They've always been having to live like this in fear of dying every day and dying. The millions gone. Hunger kills 9.1 million a year per annum. So that puts it in perspective. See? And then we've got air pollution that takes out 8 million per year. See? That's a combined nearly 18 million every year. See? So it puts this into perspective. What is the maximum amount of people that could possibly die before this thing has its way with us and finishes and diminishes? 5 million. 5 million. That's probably the maximum that could possibly be affected. So it puts it into perspective. You see? It's just a drop in the ocean, and this is going to be a one-off event for us. But for the people who live elsewhere, they're continuing to be decimated every year. And it will be so for a long time, for the foreseeable. I think that's what it should have taught us those things. What really matters, it should teach us. See? When everything's stripped away, what would be the last thing that you'd hold on to or find dear? When you lose everything.
How did you feel as you walked past these businesses, and which businesses did you walk past, and what do you think about that?
Oh yeah, we'd still have more than enough. We've got adequate amounts to supply, to supply our needs, and we always have got adequate amounts to feed our needs. So what actually is the problem? See? The problem is it stopped us from accumulating excess. That's all. And that's not a problem, that's a lesson. That's why I call the whole thing a teaching. It's beautiful. If you look indoors now and look around you, wherever you are, you count how many pairs of shoes you've got, just out of interest, you see. Have a look and see, and then think about that. See, it's an abundance. We've got heaps of everything, way more than what we need, way more. So this is not even a deprivation. Even if it lasted for 5 years, it wouldn't be a deprivation. You still wouldn't be without. Still got so much in the closet. So what's the problem? What is the problem? It exposes what we should be doing here, which is loving each other, and it exposes what we shouldn't be doing, which is accumulating goods, more than what we need. So it's a teacher, it's the ultimate teacher.
It's sort of being here in town has been, for me, been a fantasy come true. It's like I've been going up and down the high street, making fun of one corporation after another, and now they're closed. It's amazing to see, H&M closed and Summers closed and all the restaurants closed. Most of them are serving unhealthy food anyway, and all the pubs closed, all them selling alcohol, which is like awful. Of all the drugs they could be promoting, alcohol is just awful. And all the the schools are closed, where they're, basically just brainwashing children and sort of kind of acting as a babysitting service for their parents who can't cope with them. And universities where they're ripping off the people, like poor students, $9,000 a year for stuff they can get for free on the web, right? What a fantastic! Oh, it's just absolutely fantastic, right? All the fashion shops closed. Wonderful. See the stupid fashion shops. Who cares about fashion? Most of us have already got enough clothes just that will, that kind of fit all right, and last for 10 years, t-shirts and trousers, and we can swap with each other if we really want to at any time, right? But most of us don't need any more. Maybe a few more bits of underwear or something, I don't know, but some basics, right? And maybe for children that are growing. But even the children that are growing can probably share with their cousins, and so it's like, it's great to see Nike closed down and the Apple store closed down, because you don't really need any of these people in person. They can be online. Everything can be online. You can still order all the technology you need online. On the one hand, there are lots of people that are going to die earlier than you'd thought, right? And going to be some losers and going to be some winners. And I also think like it's such an amazing time to kind of take stock of so much, including the way we see death. And to start to at least transform to some extent our fear of death into like a welcoming space of acknowledgement of a person's life, and also of the person's the end of a person's problems. So I heard, for example, recently that somebody I know, a fairly elderly man, died. We need to notice also the beauty of having no more problems anymore. That is death. And as well as the sadness and the missing of a person and wishing that he or she would have gone on for longer. So we need to I think it would help to change or to transform our experience of death. What would you say? What would you say to to the opportunities that are available here? And that's another thing that I think that although there's a lot of people who will lose out, there's also going to be a lot of people that will actually gain a lot, and there will be people who go through phases. And at first, all of us are going to experience anxiety. It's just, unless you're completely immune to that, I don't know. I don't know how anybody could possibly be immune unless you're a psychopath. But everyone else will even psychopaths may experience anxiety. Everyone will be experiencing anxiety one way or another. And the question is, at the same time, many will find that this is actually an amazing opportunity. What do you think about the opportunities that are posed, that are going to be coming up for us?
Well, the ultimate opportunity is just to recognise that we're all family. That's the ultimate. That's not going to be realised, but that's what should be realised. When everything's stripped away, we are all family. See, this system keeps us separated. The illusion of separation. That's what it conjures up. But it should strip away. This will not do it, but something like this may in the future do it. And everything is stripped away. And then you'll quickly realise that the person next to you is your relative. Your loved one. See? That all the barriers will come down. The barriers are just illusion anyway. But that would take a complete collapse. See? And then people now realise we're facing starvation, now you see who everybody is now. The ones that have got goodness in their heart will recognise everyone around them as family. See? That's it. It's wonderful. That's what it should do.
Yeah, and in a way that has all sorts of different manifestations. And one of them, which I was talking about earlier this morning outside the supermarket, is that according to my current understanding, and I think everything needs to be taken with a big pinch of salt, everything needs to be looked at on different levels of reality, right? Because I certainly don't really know what's going on. But as far as I understand, right now, hospitals are filling up, right, with coronavirus patients, and they are going to be beyond their capacity. And therefore, the more people that get it now, the less they're going to be able to cope with those people, and a lot of older people will die, and a lot of people with underlying health issues will die, because all the places in the ICUs are going to be taken up. In which case, What I see as seeing yourself as family is just like if it was your mum. If your mum was vulnerable, then most of us would make sure that she was well isolated and that there wasn't a chance of her getting this, and therefore we have to treat everyone as our mum and understand that we're all carriers, and therefore we've all got to be careful around the vulnerable.
Exactly, yes. See, so it shows us family. The family theme crops up again in that scenario. See, either way or every way, it should teach us the main message, which is that we have never been separated.